Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, the Rumpled One. It's Friday, 11 November 2nd, the year 2018. Let's talk trading. It's NFP day also. But I want to know something. How do you warm up the trade? When you play a sport, most people know to warm up, you know, get the muscles warm, do some stretching, get loose. But, you know, there's other professions that warm up too. For example, actors, comedians, public speakers, they all have their little warm up routines. They're kind of like their pre flight checklist. We've talked about having a checklist before, but if you think about it, if you just sit down at a computer, I don't know what you were doing before you sat down, but you just sit down at a computer, you open up the trading platform, and you just jump in and start trading. I mean, is that really smart? Maybe you should have um, a couple of 3x5 cards that you read, or a booklet, or notebook, or maybe there's certain things you go through, certain things you repeat to yourself before you trade to kind of put your mind in the proper mindset for trading. Maybe there's a few reminders, things you want to do and things you want to make sure you don't do. For example, you might say, yes, I will use money and risk management each time I trade today. So I'd be interested. Does anybody out there have a warm up for when they trade? It'd be really interesting. Send post the comment down here, and oh yeah, while I'm thinking about it, I'm supposed to ask you to subscribe and ask you to hit the little alarm bell down here so you know when I put out a new video. So monthly, we're looking here. 114 pips off that low, approaching that mid, 56 pips off the high of the month. So movement. On the week, we've crossed over the weekly midpoint. We still haven't filled those two pairs. So I guess last week we had one open, and this week we're having two open. And you can see we've almost covered this candle body here. Maybe next week it will. On the daily, a nice pop out. Good for about 55 pips. You got it right at the high. You see it left that daily wick zone there, 95 pips. Funny, this is NFP day and we've only got 4 pairs with the range greater than 100. That's unusual. The buy zone, once again, clear signal here. Now, if you have your stop loss right below the daily open, you would have been stopped out. But next time, next trigger, maybe if you triggered at the lower line, maybe you got stopped out again. But it paid off because you see here, this trigger here aiming towards the pivot point, that would have resulted in a loss. Rat zone, red rats feasted. Because see right here, there wasn't a rat zone. It wasn't until price pushed up, made a high here, and then made another one here, that we actually got some nice rat reversals out of the rat zone with a 94.8 pip range. Once again, open pivot, starting the month off with an open pivot. That's interesting. Price action, same old, same old. One ball at the bottom, green at the line. 3 ball at the top, red at the line. 1 ball at the bottom, green at the line. I have to say, there was a comment. It had to do with they liked the video. I think I was talking about the wick zones and pretty much dedicated the whole video to the wick zones, and they thought that was, they wanted to see more videos like that. But as I stated, I don't know, sometime during the summer, or maybe it was in the spring, that I really wanted to focus more on the psychology and the mindset, because there's so many methods out there. I mean, you could pick one or two or invent your own. But the point is, if your mind isn't right, as they say in Cool Hand Luke, if you don't have your mind right, your trading's just going to be a disaster. It just really is. So that's why today I want to talk about that warm up. Because maybe if you just took 5 minutes before you say, okay, I'm going to start trading, I'm going to get up and I'm going to trade at 8 o'clock every day. Well, maybe 5 minutes to 8, if you just sat down with a piece of paper, or maybe you put it in a Word document or something, an Office doc, doesn't matter. It's on the screen, but there's just something that you read and you do every day. It's just to get your mind in that right mindset for trading. Maybe it would be as simple as just taking the buy sell button off the screen. And the last thing you do is you put the buy sell button. Now you're ready to trade. So you have a few things that you do, you go over, and now you put that on and you're ready to trade. It could be something as simple as that. Once again, here we go. Price action at the lines. Nice breakout there. We're having another breakout here. Larry live trade. Wick zone. Once again, we know price doesn't like to stay in the wick zone. Here it popped out, went in and popped out, went in and popped out, went in and popped out. Just a little, but see, it went in and popped out big. On the holo, and a nice highest open here, you see you had a second chance to enter and make the pips. Inventory reduction bars, you see our latest triggers. If you triggered in here, you may still be in a trade, or you probably got stopped out either here or here. Right here was a short. There was another short if you were late to the trade. One of my favorites, the previous daily, weekly, monthly, open, high, low. You can see here the price action around the daily previous day's high. And as you can see here on the ticks, we've had some movement away from that midpoint since I've turned the computer on. And right here, rocketing out of the Einstein line area right here, the trigger. I can make that just a little bit bigger so you can see it. Once again, where do you take profit? Probably would have taken some profit there. You could take part of it off, let the rest ride. You can see here, there was a signal and out and another signal to out. These are turn trades. Green at the top, red out. Price turned. As you can see here, red close, green at the bottom, price turned. You'll always see that pattern. Red at the bottom, green, price turned. Red at the bottom, green, price turned. So you got red at the bottom, here green. Price went up just a little bit, but then it came back. But you see, pattern repeated itself, and there you go. So on the NFP, I mean, the takeaway I think for today is we've only got 4 over 100. So something must be up with the markets for the NFP to only cause 4 pips. I mean, 4 pairs to have 100 pip or more range. Something has got to be up. Even the beast only came in at 97. The new beast clocked in at 137. So, fellow traders, there you have it. I hope you had a profitable NFP day. And over the weekend, I want you to think about that warm up. So when you come to trading on Monday, you'll warm up before you trade, because remember, it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So I hope once again you had a good week of draining the banks. Have a nice, safe weekend, and we'll see you next week where we will drain the banks.